My dragonflies, welcome back to another video, and I hope everyone have an amazing day. Nothing but positivity and happiness over here. And if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Jai. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, all the great stuff. And we're back with Casual Geographic, aka Hood Nature. And this is animals that will cure your depression. No depression over here. Nothing but love, positivity. Like I said, happiness, positivity. So sit back, relax, get your snacks, and let's watch the video.
So we hit 2 million subscribers on this channel. That really only started because I thought Trump was
Period.
Which means there's enough of us to invade the state of Delaware and have pretty good odds doing it. So in honor of us reaching 1 million subs twice, and also since my mom said I should make more lighthearted videos so she doesn't have to lose sleep to support her son, here are the top 10 most wholesome animals you'll find in nature. While there will be accurate facts in this video, it will also be in my very biased opinion. And if you're a long-time supporter, you probably already know what the top 4 are going to be. Also, a little side note before we get started. When I call an animal wholesome, I am assigning human characteristics to a wild animal. In real life, nature don't care about being cute or wholesome. It's survival of the fittest, and in the wild, morality gets you put on a t-shirt. Basically, what I'm trying to say is animals aren't good.
Did that other buffalo just be like,
but if you could kindly suspend your disbelief,
you're done.
At least 8 minutes, because you know literals, that'd be great. All that aside, at number 10 is an animal you probably wouldn't even expect in a video like this. Honestly, you couldn't name 5 animals that have a worse PR team than bats. Hollywood definitely didn't do them any favors reputation-wise. And a certain virus named after a beer only made it worse. But not only do they have a strong case for one of the most wholesome, you could also argue that bats may be one of the most impactful animals on Earth. First of all, there's a lot of them. About 25% of all mammal species identify as bats. A quarter of all the mammals on this planet are some type of this weird little bird mouse. And because bats contribute to society by pollinating, if Thanos snapped them all into dust, the world's ecosystems would collectively collapse and food chains everywhere would become ground zero. Over 500 kinds depend on bats to keep them in business, and losing them could affect your way of life in places you didn't even realize. Want to add some banana to your morning oatmeal? Chances are your breakfast was brought to you by bats. Enjoying a mango smoothie on the beach? You're probably drinking the fruit of this fur kite's labor. Ever get some liquid courage in you, drug test your ex, reconcile, work through your issues, grow together as people only to ultimately get married and start a life together? Yeah, probably not. But if you did, better invite a bat to the reception, because without them pollinating the plant agave, there'd be a lot less tequila and less happy mistakes in the world. And I mean that literally. Some of you might not be alive. Beyond that, every night millions of bats meal prep the insects that make our lives more difficult. It's estimated that bats save the United States anywhere from $3.7 up to $54 billion in agriculture just by being free pest control. Now, I already know what you're probably despite what you might think, the human population would be less healthy if it wasn't for these bats. Many bats help keep the mosquito population in check. Mosquitoes, which also happen to be air Ubers for diseases like Zika and West Nile. But none of that really matters because bats were guaranteed a spot on this list off their looks alone. This bat was literally named after the fact that it looks like a fox in the face. And if they didn't get the blame for putting us in quarantine, they probably would have ranked higher. Now, who didn't think cats were...
Yeah, because when you think of bats, you think of, like, vampires and all that, you know? But whole 360 about bats.
Going to end up on this list. The animal that could probably murk us in our sleep managed to finesse its way into over 30 million homes in the US alone. And I do mean finesse, because cats might as well have just domesticated themselves. Cats originally came into our lives to snack on the mice that were after our food. But cats also changed minor things about themselves to be around us. While wild cats are more solitary introverts, these cats became more social and tolerant of people. Their reduced aggression and aversion of people made them ideal pets, and their diet of our enemy the rat made them the perfect travel partners as we explored this great big ball of dirt and water. As long as we kept them fed, cats had no problem riding shotgun, which is why we barely had to domesticate them ourselves. They were basically close to perfect from the beginning, which is why where a Shih Tzu looks nothing like a wolf, a house cat still looks like it has a lot in common with its wild cousins. We never really needed a selection process for cats the way we did with other animals, because there wasn't a whole lot we needed to change. And as cats spent more time around us, they started to figure us out and adjust their behaviors accordingly. You've probably heard that normally adult cats don't meow to each other in the wild, but they'll do it with their owners since they know humans will react to that sound with more urgency. They even developed a special type of purr that most people find impossible to ignore just to ensure they get fed. But cats give as much as they take. There are legitimate health benefits to having a cat under your roof, which include lowering stress and anxiety and reducing the risk of heart disease. Studies even show that they can purr at a frequency that has therapeutic healing effects on human bones and muscles. And that's not even mentioning all the stories of cats valuing human lives enough to risk their own. Tara the cat went wild after saving her 4-year-old human from an attacking dog. Oreo here did the same, but instead of a dog, he took on a venomous rattlesnake to defend his family. And when Rick Chap suffered a near-fatal heart attack, it was his cat Buddy that saved his life by running across the house and getting his wife's attention. For an animal that looks constantly done with everything,
I remember the story of a little kitten who saved the man from the fire. Something was on fire and the cat saved the day.
Cats really are just nature's son today. And if it wasn't for the billions of animals that get 404'd by outdoor cats, they definitely would have ranked higher.
Cats want hearts.
One of my favorite movies of all time is Into the Spider-Verse. If you followed me on Instagram, you probably could have guessed that. And one of my favorite lines in the whole movie was when Peter B. Parker says, "Could you imagine a seahorse seeing another seahorse and then making it work?" Well, he wasn't exactly lying. Seahorses are famous for two things. One is that it's actually the guys that are the ones that get maternity leave. Two is that they're monogamous and made for life. Not all seahorses are loyal. In fact, some will actually switch partners mid-season. But some, like the New Holland seahorse, will find another seahorse and in fact find a way to make it work. Especially since the longer a seahorse marriage lasts, the more luck they have raising children. Of course, a healthy relationship doesn't just happen, which is why every morning seahorses will reinforce their pair bond with a dance. They often intertwine their tails and even sometimes change colors.
It would be nice to have a seahorse
as a pet. It is aggressively wholesome. And then there's the fact that males are the ones that give birth, and some can pop out thousands of Xeroxes at once. And as soon as he does, his partner's ready to knock him up again. Now there are a few things that knock him down the wholesome scale. Baby seahorses are known as fry, and occasionally the male takes this too literally by eating his own children. Then there's the fact that seahorses are one of the most efficient life takers in the ocean, with a hunting success rate of 90%. But overall, if you could have a relationship like the seahorses, you'd probably take it. Or you'd want the marriage of another animal further down this list. This animal was 100% a biased pick, and I'm not going to apologize for it. The pangolin earns the distinction of being the most polite animal I've ever seen. This is the look of an animal patiently waiting for his mom to get off the phone so he can ask her for $10 to buy flowers for his middle school crush. To protect their claws, they often walk around on two legs, and the result is that they look like the embodiment of, "Excuse me, I don't mean to bother you." There's also the fact that underage pangolins are known as pangapups, and they'll often hitch a ride and even nap on their mother's tail. If there's anything negative about this turtle gerbil, I'm Helen Keller to it. Instead of being predictably related to armadillos, they're actually closer to carnivores like cats, dogs, and bears. And that is exactly the kind of defiance I respect. Pangolins will often take mud baths to help keep themselves parasite-free, but it somehow also manages to make them even more adorable. But because we can't have nice things, pangolins are the second most trafficked mammal by humans. The most trafficked are humans themselves, which is what inspired this group of men for protecting this pretty privileged pinecone from perilous poachers. You better like this video. That sentence took way too long to pronounce. To raise awareness of their efforts, a photographer did a photo shoot of these men with, of course, their penguins. Even with their population threatened, you can still count this live-action Pokemon to put a smile on your face. Like bats, penguins do get a lot of blame for a certain fear virus. And of course, there's that South Park episode about it. But like I said, I'm Ray Charles to any form of pangolin slander, and that's simply not going to change. This might be an unexpected addition on this list, because chimpanzees are some of the most violently homicidal things with a pulse. One of the worst ways to meet your higher creator is to have a chimpanzee book the appointment. Yet somehow an animal directly related to them is a perpetual pacifist. At number 6, it's our closest cousin in the animal world, the bonobo. They look like chimps nature tried to draw strictly from memory, but their personalities are polar opposites. Their societies are built on love and peace, which is why there are rarely cases of bonobos killing each other. Also, they're female dominated. But unlike other matriarchal social circles, not all the females in the bonobo circle are necessarily related. And while there is a hierarchy, they do look out for each other. High-ranking females will often even defend newcomers from the unwanted advances of males. And instead of castrating each other like their murderous cousins, bonobos solve conflicts with affection. They are the hippie chimps of the Congo. Only thing is, sometimes they're a little too affectionate, which is why any movie starring bonobos is rated B. As in, be sure to have to talk with your kids before you go see them in a zoo, or they may come home with questions you might not be prepared to answer. They be fornicating. A lot. But these apes on ecstasy use a no-pants dance as a way to reinforce bonds within the group and solve disputes without actually causing injury, which makes them the most unproblematic thing with thumbs in the world. But it's also why finding safe-for-work videos of them was better in difficulty. One wrong move in what they like to do to each other, guidelines will do to me. Swans are often considered the mascot of peace, love, and loyalty. I rebuke that. Swans are mean-spirited Q-tips drunk off pretty privilege. Before a bird that apparently mates for life, swans actually have a divorce rate of about 5%, meaning on average 1 in every 20 swan couples calls it quits during breeding season. Flamingos, on the other hand, believe in monogamy the way they can and believes in birth control, since they have a divorce rate of about 99%. And penguins aren't even worth discussing since they'll cheat on their partner with a hole in the ground. But the most faithful of the birds is the albatross, with a divorce rate between 1 and 3%. The albatross will spend years waiting for the right mate. These seabirds can easily live into their late 50s, so if they got one thing, it's time. Once two albatrosses do pair up, they'll perform a synchronized dance ritual to strengthen their pair bond. It's like the bird version of renewing their vows. Single albatrosses will spend years practicing and perfecting the courting dance, so they have the choreography down by the time they actually need it. And with their lifespan, these couples often spend decades raising chick after chick. Breakups are rare, and it's usually a result of multiple years of breeding failure. Climate change has also caused a slight rise in albatross divorces, but I'm not about to hold that against them. They're like the seahorse, except they're a lot less likely to dip out on their partner, and infinitely less likely to turn their children into a kid's meal. It takes a lot for me to give a bird props, and the albatross 100% earns it.
Albatross.
It wasn't a matter of if, but when quokkas were going to make an appearance. Google the happiest animal on Earth,
yes,
and get one trying to be
from Ice Age.
Like the penguin, the quokka was guaranteed a spot on this list on their appearance alone. Being the most photogenic thing in nature counts for something. And since quokkas on rotten nests have no natural predators, they have little to no fear of humans, which is how quokka selfies became a thing. Quokkas are such mascots for positivity that they single-handedly boost tourist numbers to rotten nests the way LeBron did to
In
fact, you're probably surprised, not that quokkas are here, but that they're not ranked higher. Well, there's always going to be people that take things too far, and that often gets them attacked by quokkas, and oftentimes it's the children getting the worst of it. To be fair, going viral might have been the worst thing that could have happened to them. Tourists often treat them as a plush toy rather than a wild animal, and that often gets them dealt with appropriately. And as their lack of fear towards humans gets taken advantage of, the quokka ironically gets abused by those same humans. Which of course means them lashing out has nothing to do with them and everything to do with us. There is also this. While quokkas don't actively eat their children, mothers will loosen muscles in their pouch as a last resort when being chased by a predator. So as the screaming, writhing joey falls and distracts the predator, Mom of the Year gets to live to make another baby. Which makes sense in the grand scheme of things, since you'd rather lose the baby than the baby maker. But that kind of parenting does you no favors in a list like this. But it doesn't change the fact that when this travel-sized kangaroo steps up, depression hears boss music. Google "we don't deserve" and it'll autofill dogs in your search box. Google knows what's up. The irony is that the animal we got dogs from had every reason to hate us. Thousands. Google knows what's up. Google "we don't deserve" and it'll autofill dogs in your search box. Google knows what's up. The irony is that the animal we got dogs from had every reason to hate us. Thousands of years ago, wolves and humans hunted the same prey and were each other's biggest competition. But then we teamed up, and now you can expect to find a dog in millions of homes worldwide. From apex predator to devoted house pet, there are just too many wholesome facts about dogs to count. For example, studies show that dogs are more likely to approach someone who's crying rather than someone who's talking or just humming, and that's regardless of whether it was their owner or just a stranger. In the same experiment, dogs would approach a stranger with submissive body language, almost as if they were trying to comfort them. Another experiment showed that dogs actually preferred interacting with individuals who use high-pitched baby voices with them instead of those who use normal, deeper voices. But my personal favorite, when a dog and its owner make eye contact, both bodies release oxytocin, which is considered the love hormone, which just so happens to be the same one released when a mother and a newborn interact. You don't have to say anything, you don't have to touch them. You can stare at your dog and you'd be bonding. Which says a lot since their cousin the wolf sees that same eye contact as a challenge. Not only that, but dogs are one of the few animals that understand the gesture of pointing. Meaning you could point at something across the room and a dog will understand to look in the direction you're pointing, where most animals will just be interested in your finger. Little things like that only happen after hundreds of years of being right by our side. We have service dogs, emotional support dogs, medical response and police dogs. We have service dogs, emotional support dogs, medical response and police dogs. Basically any job worth having can have a dog involved somehow. We even trust them with our children. We might not deserve dogs, but dogs 100% deserve this spot. The silver medal of wholesomeness goes to the capybara. No matter where this plus-size guinea pig pulls up, it's always with good vibes and sympathy.
I was trying to think of the name,
there
but
are
I said
entire threads of cappies existing around other animals completely unbothered. The thing is, they can be a complete menace and it'd be totally justified. Capybara live in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the world and often share an area code with predators like jaguar, caiman, anacondas, and eagles. And it's not like these buff beavers are tanky enough to have no worries. They often fall prey to those same predators. Normally, any animal that can get meal prepped by so many others is often high-strung and hyper-aggressive by nature. Nature knows zebras use that excuse. But not only are capybara the complete 180, you'll even see them around the same animals they should be afraid of. Because this heavyweight hamster is allergic to most forms of conflict. Which is why when a bunch of orphan puppies needed a foster mom, it was a capybara that stepped up. But as chill as they are, capybara are still roided up rodents with teeth that they will use to defend themselves against people. But like with the quokka, if you manage to make this horse rabbit angry, you definitely did something to deserve it. Aside from that, a happy cappy is one of the most wholesome sights in nature. But they just barely miss out on the #1 spot.
Who's number one?
Of course the manatee was going to be number one. My personal bias would allow no other outcome. Because their teeth are way in the back of their mouths, manatees are physically incapable of inflicting any form of violence, even when they really should have. There are no recorded cases of manatees attacking other animals or people. The closest you get would be a water balloon curiously approaching you and accidentally knocking you off your paddleboard. Alligators are seasoned prehistoric killing machines, and even they give manatees the right of way in the water. Also, its closest relative happens to be the elephant, so again, any spot other than number one would be an insult. The only problem is their natural curiosity can put them in harm's way when humans, especially boats, are involved. Laws had to be put in place to protect manatees from harassment, since we all know they're not going to defend themselves. They're literally too unproblematic for their own good. Dogs kill thousands of people a year, and someone in the world right now is walking around with a scarf from not respecting the dog's space. But you won't find a person who's seriously hurt by this gentle giant. Because in a world full of darkness, the sea squishy is a beacon of positivity. But that's going to do it for this video. For daily uploads, be sure to follow my TikTok and Instagram. Especially Instagram, since they don't want to give me my blue check. To watch videos before I post them, also consider becoming a patron on Patreon. If you don't want to do that, consider subscribing. It's free and there's no better price than that. Also, for every person that watches this and doesn't sub, a manatee sheds a tear, and only a monster would allow that to happen. All that aside, drink water, hug your mother, support your local manatees,
all that,
and I'll see you in the next one.
Yes. Aww. I can speak to her. Yes. So that was Casual Geographic with all the cute animals. The kookaburras, the manatees, and the puppy, the kittens, the thing we just saw, the ant, all of the cute animals. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. And yeah, remember to have the most awesome positive day. Stay grateful, stay blessed, and until next time, you guys, peace.